All right. Hello and welcome everyone to episode 74 of the GGG Podcast. Thank you for joining us here. If you haven't already liked and subscribed to our gaming podcast, please do so on YouTube. And if you're listening to the audio-only version on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, follow us over there as well. Joining me, as always, we got Phil over here. He's ready to talk video games after a week off. You got lots of pent-up podcast energy, Phil.
Oh yeah, I actually have been screaming out Audible commercials in my sleep, even though we don't do those. But hey, Audible, if you want, we'll do a podcast commercial for you. Here's how it would go. I love books. Do you love books? But you know what I also hate? Reading. Audible.com. Listen to your books, you dingus.
You dingus. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think it's just straightforward and to the point. So
that's what a lot of ads are missing nowadays. Crazy week for video games, Paul.
Crazy? What's so crazy about it?
Well, first of all, Baldur's Gate 3, giantest game of all time. We're gonna get to all of it, like that big RPG stuff. We're gonna talk about this at the end of the show. But Oblivion shadow dropped. We all knew it was coming.
We did.
We talked about the rumblings here on the show.
We did.
We felt the pulse.
We did.
But I've just been playing Marvel Rivals pretty much.
Great.
I don't know what else there is to play, really, but...
Yeah. Okay. All right, well, fair enough. And so that's the only game you played this last 2 weeks?
Let me look. Okay, so I did play some Baldur's Gate.
Okay.
I did play a little bit of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, how is that going? Are you making progress or?
I am. It's just it's not as inescapably a big game as Valhalla was, but it is pretty massive. So it kind of feels like it's weird because I want to be playing more of it because I've got Ubisoft Plus, and I'm like, all right, let me just knock this out so I can cancel that.
Right.
But just other games be calling to me. Like, I finally got a friend to play Marvel Rivals for the first time this week, and I think I got the bug into them. So that's pretty much mostly been my thing, is just sort of spreading the virus as I wait for Ultron.
All right, fair enough. Well, I also played... No, did you have something else?
No, I was going to say, what have you been playing?
Also been playing Marvel Rivals, just haven't been playing it as much. And that is because I've been playing more and more of the finals. So that's been taking up more of my time. And I like competitive games. I do. And so I've been feeling good about some of the new weapons they added to the game. Especially I usually run the medium class. And they have a sawed-off incendiary shotgun for the medium class now, and I love it. So I've been running around with that quite a bit. But then lots of things. I've played Void Crew. Void Crew had a big update, and by big, I mean it expanded the lobby from 4 players to 6 players. So
pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. So now you can... Sea of Thieves in space with 5 other people as opposed to 3 other people. So that is very exciting. Played a bit of that. Played some Helldivers. Played a teensy bit of Monster Hunter World, which we're going to talk about a little bit later in the podcast. Not Monster Hunter World, Monster Hunter Wilds. And I've been playing a lot of Valheim with my partner. Just created a new server and just have been doing big building projects and advancing, and that's been a lot of fun. And last but not least, I've been playing Repo, which is a Lethal Company extraction looter game esque thing. And I'll be honest, I know Lethal Company was all the rage couple months ago, or really last year, but Repo's better. And I get that it's a total ripoff of Lethal Company, but it is better. I like the mechanics better. I like the wackiness to it. So yeah, would endorse.
Sometimes the ripoff's better. Fortnite's better than PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
Yeah.
Marvel Rivals better than
Facebook,
Overwatch.
TikTok.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Vine might have been better than TikTok.
Probably.
I think it's I've been downloading games on Game Pass that I see pop up. Specifically, one that I'm excited to play, but I also realize like I need a compatriot to play this with is the Hunt Showdown.
Oh.
Have you ever heard of that game?
I have not.
It is a survival, like, I guess, I'm trying to think of the right, almost a battle royale, but
Okay.
you're playing PvE, and you're going around hunting monsters, so it's like kind of horror game, kind of set in the Old West, like frontier times.
All right.
But your mission is to like go extract a demon out of something, but there's also other hunters, and they have the same mission.
I see.
So they might either find you and kill you, or wait till you start hunting the thing and then kill you and take the prize.
So it's PvE VP.
VP.
Yes.
Extraction shooter.
Great. It seems like that is the next wave of like genre wave we're going to get is extraction shooters. All of the stuff about like Marathon that has come out. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. Well, what is it called again? The Hunt or the Hunter or
It's a Hunt Showdown.
The Hunt Showdown.
It's been around for a while, but it keeps getting like regular
Updates.
So seems pretty alive with its small user base.
Okay. Right on. That sounds like people probably take it very seriously.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When you die, you lose all your stuff, all of your character advancement, and you die pretty regularly. So
Great.
seems
Perfect.
fun.
All right. Well, let's get into this week's major game releases. First up, coming from Ubisoft, The Lost Skies has entered early access on Steam. This is a survival crafting game from Ubisoft, which I don't really think that they've done a lot of those before. But the aesthetic is sort of interesting. I'm a little conflicted about the aesthetic. It kind of looks like a mishmash between Pal World and Horizon Zero Dawn. And I don't know if it works, but I do like floaty skyships, and this game does have floaty skyships. So I am all aboard with that. You know, I just said that I've been playing some Valheim, and one of the things about Valheim is you got to sail everywhere. And in Lost Skies, you can fly a ship that flies. You know, I don't have to stick to the water. I can just fly right over land. So that sounds pretty badass to me.
Go where I want to go.
Exactly.
They also have a pretty good, what's the right word? It's seemingly like grappling hook web slinging system, and then a glider system, so you can get around to new areas and get special things. This game has been, I think, Reddit, Instagram, they've all been like pushing this game at me, and I'm like, is this a real game? Turns out it actually is. Pretty exciting.
And it's out now, and it's mildly on sale. I think it's $2.50 off. So
hey, that's $2.50 less than I would have spent on it.
All right. Well, and the other major release for this week is Days Gone Remastered. You know, for those fans of Days Gone, came out for the PlayStation 4, so this is a remastered version coming out to the PS5. I believe there is an upgrade option available, similar to the upgrade options we've seen for Ghost of Tsushima, for Horizon Zero Dawn, and for another one that I'm forgetting, The Last of Us, for The Last of Us as well. Which, you know, maybe some people out there are watching the TV show that's, you know, airing, you know, within these weeks. I'm sorry for your loss. And
hey, us gamers kept a secret. I mean, we didn't keep it a secret, but we didn't tell everyone.
Yeah, we didn't tell everyone. We didn't have to, you know, I mean, we were traumatized too when it happened, so very upset.
I think that's why we wanted everyone to share in that.
Look at this. I brought up Days Gone and I immediately switched topics.
Which is, hey, that's what most people do when they talk about Days Gone. There is one more game that I just remembered that's coming out this week. Claire Obscure Expedition 33. It is a turn-based action battler that looks like a more Western version of like Final Fantasy.
Okay.
You've probably seen footage of it. It looks beautiful. I think it's got the guy who plays Daredevil is the main character. Yeah, it looks really, really fun if you're into turn-based games, if you're willing to give that a shot. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is going to be on Game Pass.
Okay.
So that's this Friday, the 24th.
Right on. Well, speaking of turn-based games, Phil, there was a Star Wars game announced this week. Star Wars Zero Company. What's going on? What's going on over here? What's going on?
Well, let me just tell you what I've picked up about the game.
It's Star Wars.
It's XCOM. And as a big XCOM pervert who made my characters into Star Wars characters and Marvel superheroes, I am very excited. It looks like it will hopefully probably be better than what was the Marvel game by Firaxis, Second Sons?
Oh, come on, man. I told you so many times that game was amazing. Get out of here.
I've played it. It's the card battling system is kind of a bummer.
It's not. You just gotta give it time. You just gotta give it time to marinate, and it's so good.
I have to see how many hours I played. The other thing that I have a problem with about that game is, listen, hanging out with the superheroes around the mansion is fun. I'm so sick of talking to them. The voice, it's so bad. I'm like, Spider-Man, leave me alone.
Yeah.
I don't care what you're doing with your car or whatever. So for me, XCOM 2 was just, and XCOM 1 were just such like a really well encapsulated like the loop of how those things went. A lot of those devs allegedly are working on this new game, and just looking at it, it seems a little bit more up that alley, and like characters can die. And I think part of the risk for me, part of the fun was the permadeath aspect of those games, and not having like named characters that will live forever, hopefully. At least that's what it seems like. We don't know too much about the game. That adds a little something to it for me. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the trailer looked cool. It was when it cut to the gameplay where I was like, oh, like I don't think it looks like aesthetically very good. And like I prefer the Marvel's what the frick is it? Not Ultimate
Second
Alliance.
Sons, Seven Sons.
Midnight Suns.
Midnight Suns.
I prefer that because it eliminated a lot of the quirky stuff from XCOM games that I didn't like missing when you're right in front of somebody. Hated that.
Hey, sometimes it happens. Sometimes you sneeze right before you pull the trigger.
Yeah.
You got 99% chance to hit, and you just whiff.
Oh, it's realistic. Well, it's like if all games were realistic, we'd have to stop and go to the bathroom in video games, and we don't do that, do we? So
I hold space and time for my characters to go to the bathroom in video games.
Well, that's up to the gamer then. To each his own. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm curious because I do like XCOM. I liked Gears of War Tactics, the XCOM Gears of War game. And so I might like this. I just, when it cut from the cinematic to the actual gameplay of the game looked really dated. Like it looked like for a second I was like, is this a phone game? Or like, what am I watching? So maybe I got to rewatch the trailer because like I'm looking at the character designs from this article that we're referencing from GameSpot, and the character designs look incredible. Like, and these look like main characters that you're probably going to have throughout the game, like you were saying. So there's no permadeath and whatnot. But
that's such a bummer. I love permadeath in these types of games.
Yeah, maybe there will be a mode that lets you do that. But as far as Firaxis, there's never like an offshoot mode. It's just like, this is the game, play the game. If you want to start a new thing, then you have to start a new thing. So,
like, if you want to play a different game, play a different game.
Yeah, go play XCOM 2 if you don't like it. So yeah, I'm curious about it. We'll keep talking about it as more news comes out. But yeah, I think I got to rewatch that trailer. I think that's the thing. All right, next up on the news. So Battlefield, there have been several reports from multiple sources that they are really for Battlefield 6. which we don't know if that's what it's going to be called, but that is, I think the project name is Battlefield 6. For Battlefield 6, they are leaning heavily into destructibility, which is a big thing that I've wanted them to do for a really long time. It's a huge reason I loved Battlefield Bad Company 2 back in the day, because it's like, oh, there's a guy in that building and he's covering the door. I guess I'll just blow down this wall so I don't have to walk through that door and have him kill me. And so they're really adding that in. I think the Battlefield games up until this point have had destructibility in it, but it's been very limited. And so there's been some leaked footage that's come out, and it's showed just how destructible buildings are, and then when buildings actually fall apart, there's like clutter and stuff that still, is raining down. There's dust because the building collapsed, and so it's hard to see through. It just looks really realistic, so Phil would like that. Maybe they'll add in going to the bathroom. I don't know.
They better.
Yeah.
I want to see the toilet destruction physics. Well, yeah, no, there's a lot of dust, and you can see, like, when larger chunks fall, there's individual bricks that, like, shatter when they hit the ground.
Yeah.
I think the thing about this type of ingenuity, like, the way that the old game market and ecosystem for, like, selling a new game worked isn't conducive to making a really great system on one go, because, like, is the destruction going to be better on the next one? It could be, but like they reached a cap, I feel like, with Battlefield 3 and 4, and stopped innovating on that. And then they went to Battlefield 1 and like kind of innovated in some other ways.
I think they got obsessed with skyscrapers for some reason, and there's like the famous Battlefield skyscraper, but that's not the only one. That's not the only one. They're like, no, big building. It's like,
big building, go boom.
It doesn't matter how big the building is if there's only 2 floors of that building that are accessible to you.
Exactly.
The bottom floor and the roof. It's like, what? Like, who cares?
Floor, but there's what else? There was Big Blimp in Battlefield 1. That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
That would constantly glitch out, just into a flame spiral. I'm excited for this. I want more games to have like really destructible environments. I don't know if you remember way back in the day, I think it was an Indestructible Hulk game.
Oh. Okay, that's not where I thought you were going.
No, it was a game where you played as the Hulk and you just would go around and absolutely terrorize buildings and like pick up a bus and hurl it at your enemy. And that game had like pretty destructible environment. Ultimate Rampage, I think.
That sounds right. I was thinking of that Mars game. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Red Faction. Guerrilla.
Yeah.
And
Red Faction too.
I remember so many cool moments in those games where you would like crack down a wall and then like run and jump out of it. I don't know. Destruction like this makes so many in-universe great moments for video games where like you're not going to have that same experience as someone else. And I think, like you were saying, the big skyscraper, the sort of like what they leaned into was giant spectacle of you could trigger this thing to happen.
Yeah.
That looks like destruction, but not actually get like unique destruction that would change the gameplay in a non-scripted way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think the key there, what you just said, is in a non-scripted way. It's like having big set pieces is very cool, but I think it leans itself more to single player is better for big set pieces, but you can have them in a multiplayer setting. There's nothing more awesome than seeing the blimp come down in Battlefield 1 or even the skyscraper falling or whatever you want to trigger. I think that's all fine and dandy, but kind of referencing, some of the games I've been playing this week, the finals, which is made by old Battlefield people. One of the, there's a lot of destructibility in the finals, and all of the items and the stuff that they give you in the game, not every single one of them, but a lot of them allow you to futz with the environment, and it changes how you as the player approach a situation, whether I can phase through a wall, whether I can blow a hole in the wall, whether, the cash box is above us, let's drop it down a floor and just, get it.
Then get it.
And then get it, as opposed to running in. And so when you give players tools like more destructibility, they will use them in more creative ways. And I think that's something the finals has done, and it's something that Battlefield needs to get back to doing, instead of having like, well, the objective's on top of the skyscraper and you got to get up there, and that's the objective. Get up on top of the building.
You could take the helicopter, the zip line.
It's
figure it out.
Give players options on how to complete the objective. Or if you don't give them paths, just give them tools and see what they do. Because, like, regardless of my complaining, there's all these amazing Battlefield players out there getting these incredible, YouTube videos of, like, the famous jumping out of the jet and
shooting another jet with a
exactly
rocket.
Like that really happened. Like that was incredible. So anyway, it's exciting to hear, but we'll get more into it when EA actually feels like giving us something official, as opposed to leaks and reports, shadow reports on Reddit. So
listen, I think Battlefield 6, whatever they're gonna make, just give me a games as a service. Battlefield is one of the games that I'm like, works as a game as a service. Give me a new map every couple of months.
Yep.
Give me some new guns. I'm in.
Battlefield Infinite.
Yeah. But speaking of things going on forever, let's talk about the final update of Baldur's Gate 3. Because sometimes good things can't go on forever.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Final Destination is coming out with a new movie, so...
That's true. Also, Until Dawn, which kind of feels like Final Destination.
Yeah, but this is exciting. This came out last week, so Baldur's Gate 3 got its big final update. The big things with this update is they are adding cross-play multiplayer into the game, and then there are several subclasses that have been added into the game. Phil, do you have the subclass list pulled up? Because I'd love to hear some of those fancy frickin' titles that you can.
Let me see.
Beastmaster, Druid, or
so the new classes are Giant Barbarian. These are all like classic D&D classes that weren't in the player's handbook, but quickly became favorites. Giant Barbarian is you physically get bigger, your carry weight gets your strength goes up.
Like an Incredible Hulk kind of build.
You kind of are the Incredible Hulk.
Okay.
College of Glamour Bard is all about charming people, so you can if you're playing as a bard, you can make someone drop their weapon and attack their friends for you. There is Death Domain Cleric, which is a cleric usually heals people. Death Domain Cleric is good at killing people. Basically like a necromancer.
Okay.
Except without bringing people back from the dead. A soul sucker.
Yeah.
Circle of Stars Druid, which is remember in Skyrim when you look up to level up and you see the different constellations?
Yes.
This is basically that. You use different constellations to give you different class boosts.
Okay.
The one that I decided to switch to... Well, actually, a couple of them. There's a Hexblade Warlock.
Ooh, there's a Drunken Master Monk.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
The more you drink, the better you get at fighting. Also, when you hit people, you can imbue the drunk status on them.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
You're so drunk, your aura gets other people drunk. That's amazing.
Swarmkeeper Ranger. This is the one that I picked because you get 3 different choices of either bees, moths, or jellyfish. The bees do piercing damage, and they can push people. Basically, people are getting stung by bees, and they start to run in a direction.
Right.
The moths do psychic damage. I think the jellyfish do electric damage, but they're just constantly flowing around you, and you can step into the group of bees or wasps or whatever, and teleport to a different spot on the map a couple times a day. So I don't know. It just makes the whole all the classes they added make the game feel a little bit more magical, a lot more replayability.
Yeah.
Considering
this
game.
And now people are making their own custom campaigns and everything. There's just a lot of tools in the toolbox here. So it's exactly what I was complaining about with Battlefield. It's like Baldur's Gate people, they really gave them everything. And I mean, hopefully now it seems like they're finally moving on to their next project. So that's good. But gosh darn. And the thing is, nobody had to pay for any of these updates. These are all
Yeah.
free updates that they've added. So that is really awesome. Really, really cool.
So much game for the price of one game.
Indeed. All right, moving right along. So Marvel Rivals is getting a new mode this week. It is what us millennials would call a big head mode, but this is called a giant size brain blast, which is a big head mode.
That's just Jimmy Neutron.
Is that Jimmy Neutron?
It's a brain blast.
A brain blast. But yeah, it just looks like a fun mode, where everybody's head is big. And yes, that means that the crits do apply for big head mode, so you can just kill people really, really fast. So that'll probably be some silliness that you'll have to play in order to get chrono tokens so you can unlock some event thing. So I don't know. This is I don't care, to be honest.
Yeah.
Are you also in the I don't care?
I'll probably try it once. So, I think some of my favorite memories playing Halo were playing SWAT with my friends. Do you remember playing that? Such a lot of fun to make the game a little bit more dynamic and more like quick dying, quick respawning.
Yeah.
If this mode captures that, I haven't tried it yet. I guess I will try it once. But if this captures that really quick respawn, really quick deaths and everything,
right,
feels great. If it's really quick deaths and current respawn time, oh god, that's gonna suck so bad. That's gonna be terrible.
You need to be right back into the action. So yeah, all right. Well, not much to talk about there, really. So let's keep rolling right along. Monster Hunter Wilds is getting its first seasonal event. We got the hub a couple of weeks ago, and finally we are getting the first seasonal event, which is Festival of Accord, the Blossom Dance. And this should be live right now or tomorrow. Phil and I were having trouble figuring out exactly when because the amount of time is listed and the amount of platforms this is on. But it should be starting right now by the time you're listening to this podcast, and will be going until May 6th. So that's exciting. It looks like there is the hub is going to be completely decked out in blossoms. There's a bunch of new cosmetics and outfits to earn. This is good for Monster Hunter that they're finally doing a seasonal event. I think a lot of people were kind of losing steam on it, and this will give players something to come back and re-engage. And I realized this week that I played Monster Hunter this week and played with my friends this week, but I actually never went to the hub with my friends because we got so used to just, all right, I'll just join your mission when it starts kind of a thing. So I think I also played it with you a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
So
we weren't even communicating on the mics. We were just
Yes.
running around, killing monsters in a couple of hits, and then going to the next one.
Yep. So yeah, are you excited for this, Phil?
Yeah. Here's the thing that's a bit of a bummer. There's a Bloom Dance DLC pack, which I believe is something you have to buy to get all of the in-game stuff.
Okay.
Which is a bummer because I wanted that cool skin for my secret and I wanted to earn it in game.
Damn it. Oh wow, the dragon thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There are login bonuses. There are special tickets that you can get to get what's the right word for it? Cover armor, armor that makes your
the
character
aesthetics
look like something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But outside of that, it doesn't I think it's cool. I think it is. It's an early DLC. They have their plan listed at the end of that trailer, and it shows that there's a new monster headed our way in summer.
Okay.
Which is exciting. But
kind of.
We gotta wait till summer to get a new monster.
You sound so disappointed, Phil. What's going on with you and Monster Hunter? You were so excited for this game.
I love the game. I don't know. I just need a little more time with it. I feel like I hit the end game pretty quick, and I haven't found a challenge that's really challenging me. I haven't fought a tempered Mitsune or whatever the Loch Ness monster is.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna come back to it in a roaring way. But I think I just remember World playing for a bit and then coming back once they added a ton of new stuff and being like, wow, there is so much game here. And I think just the original Monster Hunter World had more packed into that game than this one does.
I mean, I agree. I think some of the things that I said when it originally came out, it's like it just didn't feel done. And for me, with this event, this finally feels like Monster Hunter Wild's launch to me.
Yeah.
Because the fact that we had to wait for the hub and other updates like that, so like, does this particular event look super exciting? Not really, but I'm happy that the events have started and now the ball can start rolling. And so we can see that they're going to continue adding things in the game. Should this have been the way they launched the game in the first place? Yeah, probably. But yeah.
Let's start with the hub. Start with the hub in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's still no cooking, really. There's still no cooking.
Yeah. There's still no cooking for you. You have to cook for yourself, and it's great.
And even in the hub though, it's like, oh, the cats run down the mountain, and like it's not. Come on, guys, this is not what we want.
It is that element of the game is such a huge downgrade. That I think so many other elements of the game are an upgrade. Like the combat, I feel like is a little smoother. Yeah. I like the way that you have two weapons. I like the wound system, but that one thing bums me out so much.
It's a bummer.
Yeah.
So, all right. But enough about bummers, or maybe, I don't know. Let's dive into our main topic, and that is all the rage today. And that is, they finally shadow dropped Oblivion. The Oblivion remastered / remade ? Sorta, kinda, So yeah, Bethesda released Oblivion today. It is accessible today. They released a trailer comparing the graphics. They talked about how it's not just a graphical upgrade, that they've actually gone in and changed how the leveling works to make it a little bit more like Skyrim. Changed how some of the combat works to make it a little bit more like Skyrim. All of this seems cool. I think people are like, why are they calling it a remaster if they really remade it? And I think they called it a remaster to kind of cover their butts a little bit. To get ahead of people being like, well, this isn't a full remake because they didn't, re-record every voiceover line that was in the game or something like that. But they did re-record some of the voices in the game, so that's interesting. But I think a lot of the improvements that they talked about kind of seemed like, well, yeah, that obviously needed to be improved. I played Oblivion as a kid, and I played Skyrim, and the amount of a step forward that Skyrim was to Oblivion was huge in just how the combat worked, how the game felt. In Oblivion, if I remember correctly, like you can swing at things and they don't have any kind of reaction to like basic video game things you don't even think about nowadays. And so I'm glad that they did go in and add those things in. With that being said, it's like Oblivion's still an old game. So even if they give it a zhuzh, I feel like, can it stand up in 2025? And you actually got a chance to play this a little bit before we started recording, Phil. What were your initial impressions?
It looks very nice, very pretty, and it kind of feels like, when you play a video game and you played it as a kid and you kind of imagine how it looked. Mm-hmm. I think it looks better than my memory of it does, which is impressive to say that. Because they added, it seems like animations, like you were saying, the hit animations and hit reactions are different in the game. It still feels pretty loose when you're fighting. Mm-hmm. If you remember the game correctly, and spoilers if you haven't played the original Oblivion, when you're in the sewers in the very beginning and you're fighting near the Emperor and his guards, I kept hitting the guards even though I was trying to help him out and hit the cultist. Mm-hmm. It's just the way the game works is you swing very slowly. But otherwise, I think it does feel like Skyrim more so. There's a lot of updates that they've layered onto the game. Mm-hmm. The sneaking and the bow stuff feels like Skyrim.
How does the magic?
goblin?
Did you get a chance to do any magic?
Not yet.
Okay.
No.
That's kind
I
of
played a sneaky guy. That's my MO.
That's kind of my concern a little bit. I remember the magic being substantially better in Skyrim than Oblivion, and so okay, keep going. Sorry.
It seems like the sorry, I'd say no, I will not keep going. Don't worry about it. But what I mean to say is, it seems like the trailers kind of borrowed the Skyrim magic style.
Okay.
So hopefully that is the case.
Okay.
That's at least from what I've seen. But I will say there are weird hang-ups about those games that I didn't realize back in the day, and I think now, having played many other games, are kind of a bummer. Like, going between zones, there is a substantial load. Even on SSD. It's not like substantial, but it's just like you go to a loading screen for a little while. And I don't mind games with loading screens, but this reminds me of how much it kind of was strange to walk out of a building and be in a loading screen and then be outside.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I definitely want to play more because it feels like seeing an old friend that you haven't seen since childhood. Like,
right.
If you played a bunch of Oblivion, this will feel pretty cool and you'll feel right at home with it. But yeah, it's part of me's just like, well, what's the point? It's still an old game system, even if it looks new.
I feel like it's nostalgia, and I feel like people who are not into modding, which is, I don't know, I feel like that's a big slice of. I guess I should take that back, because like Oblivion and Skyrim, had huge releases. They sold a huge amount of copies. There are tons of fans who are not into modding who play those games. So I think that's what this is really for, because frankly, like, you could mod the crap out of Skyrim and make it look like it came out this year. Like, really. So I guess this is a way of like, hey, if you love playing Oblivion back in the day on your 360, this is a way to play it again. You don't have to do anything. It just comes prepackaged, shiny and new. So yeah, but something I wanted to talk about was I was kind of getting the impression that they did this because they're working on their new engine for Elder Scrolls 6, and I think maybe this kind of gives me the vibe that Mass Effect 2 gave me when it released for the PlayStation 3, where it was like, oh, we have a new engine for Mass Effect 3. We're going to launch our old game and revamp it in the new engine. And so this kind of feels like, hey, do you guys like this? You guys like this aesthetic? Yeah? Okay, great, because that's what we're using. And that's why we did this, is because we're literally working on this aesthetic. Why not apply this to Oblivion, resell it in the interim while we're still working on the new Elder Scrolls? And so do you get that vibe that this is maybe what they're doing?
I do. It feels like a weird use of their time. Granted, it is. They had. Is it Victorious? Is the name of the company that is taking over for them, or did most of the remaster?
I'm not sure. Let me look that up right now.
They basically passed it out to a company to do the remaster, to do the sort of re-rendering in the latest Unreal 5 engine. But it does feel a bit. It kind of feels like that. Like, otherwise, why would you do this? Because there was the Skyblivion team working on the game. I guess cool enough that Bethesda did gift a copy of this game to everybody who's been working on Skyblivion, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it is sort of like a little bit of a mystery. They shadow dropped it. I think they didn't think the sales numbers were going to be good. This is almost like, feels like an experiment for them. And I think that kind of feeds into what you're saying of, hey, do you guys like this? Do you want more of this? Should we keep this engine going?
It's very much a market test. And I think like the advantage to shadow dropping anything is that you get in on the right now hype and you get around reviews and having to push press for a long time. And so like all this morning, I was just in my feed, and on various gaming websites that we cite on this podcast. It's just all Oblivion Remastered, Oblivion Remastered, Oblivion Remastered, and all through YouTube and Twitch and TikTok is people streaming Oblivion Remastered, Oblivion Remastered, Oblivion Remastered, and so before people can actually have a chance to fully evaluate the game, the hype is there, and so you want to go buy it. You want to subscribe to Game Pass to be able to play it. And just as you're saying, like, well, the game kind of feels a little old, but it looks shiny, and that's the thing that catches when you do this quick shadow drop release. And so it definitely feels like a market test. And like, obviously we knew they were coming out with Elder Scrolls 6 anyway, but I think they're trying to get a feel of like, okay, what don't you like about this, and maybe we can try to fix that in Elder Scrolls 6, or at least that would be my thought process, but God knows what Bethesda is thinking. So
correct me if I'm wrong, their sort of trailer release for this game was the first time that they've mentioned Elder Scrolls 6 since E3 10 years ago?
Yeah, aside from answering questions, being like, we're working on it.
Yeah,
so
we're still doing it, guys. We swear. I feel like there is, like, Todd Howard has a secret door in his in Bethesda. That's it's Elder Scrolls 6, and then they just open it and it's full of dustbins and like old boxes and stuff, and they're like, we can't tell anyone we're not working on this. We thought the world would end by now. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's such an interesting thing. I think it's smart of them to shadow drop it. I think that is a very, like, cool thing to do, to not build up the hype too much for a game that is essentially going to be free, because it is an old game.
Right.
I think the fact that, like, for people who want to play it, that they can replay it, or people who want to experience it for the first time, you will still have a pretty good time if you are into the fantasy setting and you want to see that type of game. But it's... Yeah, I don't know. It feels weird, looks good. Yeah, that's the box cover. It feels weird, looks good.
Okay, that might be the episode title. We'll see.
That's the quote on the front of the review.
Yes, exactly. Feels weird, looks good. I'll probably, I've been meaning to subscribe to Game Pass again because I do want to play Indiana Jones. And I know that Indiana Jones is an experience I could just play through once and not have to, probably not want to play through it again. This will probably put me over the edge to do so. What do you think about the price here? It's releasing $50. How do you feel about that?
Far too much.
Yeah?
Far too much for this game.
Yeah, you think so? Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, I think they were planning on not getting that much money from this game anyway. Mm-hmm. It is a re-release, remaster. I guess I'm excited to see more of it, to see how it looks, because, like, fighting the goblins in the game, the new models are sick. Seeing the Emperor, it is kind of cool that you can kind of hear the old Patrick Stewart voice lines. Mm-hmm. And you can kind of almost taste a little bit of the grime of the Xbox 360 on the voice lines themselves. Yeah. They've done their best to, like, re-up them.
Yeah, the low bit rate.
I would honestly say $40 is the right zone for this at launch, but wait till it drops to $20 to buy it. Yeah,
I very much agree. Although I think there's a company called Fantastic Gaming. I think they own GameSpot, and it is on sale on PC. You can get it brand new, a Steam code. I think it's for $41 and change, and then you can get the deluxe edition, which is $60 normally. You can get it for $49 and change, or you could just subscribe to Game Pass, which is kind of what the intention with this is, I feel like. But yeah, I agree with you. I think $40 is the right price point. They did remake a lot of the game. So I feel okay with them charging for like a Helldivers price tag on there. I would have instantly bought it if it was $20, but that unfortunately was not the case. So,
it's an interesting market move by them. But hey, mandatory commercial for Game Pass here. You can enjoy games like Blueprints and the Hunt game that I was telling you about earlier.
Yeah. And that vampire game, right?
33. Which vampire game?
That one that they abandoned. Never mind. I think it came out last year. Never mind.
Oh God! Oh
You know
no! Oh yeah! Whoops!
I'm trying to look through it. They probably don't even advertise it anymore. You probably have to know the exact name and search for it to get to.
I will say the company that worked on Bethesda Game Studio or on Oblivion with Bethesda Game Studios is Virtuous. They were sort of the remaster house that dug in on this game.
Very good. Well, yeah, I'm curious to see what reviewers think of this, especially because I feel like, well, I don't know how the reviewers structure works, but they probably won't be as pressured to get the review out immediately, just because it's shadow drop. We can't get ahead of people playing it, and so that's the cats are out of the bag already. But it really does seem like nobody gave IGN or gave GameSpot or Games Radar or anybody an advanced copy of this, which is interesting. What do you think? So, The Outer Worlds 2 is supposed to be releasing, within the next couple of months, as far as I'm aware. Does this kind of mess with that market a little bit? I know, it's, Outer Worlds 2 is genre different. It's sci-fi, kind of Borderlands quirky, slightly. But I don't know. I just feel, I don't know if this was the right time to release this, but
I see where you're coming from, and I agree to a point. I think that this is just kind of going to ramp people up for another game in that style.
Sure.
Especially something that is brand new and going from a fantasy world to a sci-fi world. I think there's enough differences, even though it is the same essential type of game. And also, to be fair, the conversation choices that you have in Outer Worlds are far more impactful than the ones you have in Oblivion typically. Oblivion is just why would I die? Tell me my future.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure the more people dig into Oblivion, the more they're gonna see the old gamer stuff in there. So maybe the intention is to make Outer Worlds 2 look good. Maybe that's the intention.
That might be.
Yeah. So, okay. All right. Well, cool. Any more thoughts on the Oblivion shadow dropping before we wrap up for the week, Phil?
No.
Great. You can tell we're really stoked to the max about playing Oblivion again. So, yeah. All right, well, then we are going to wrap it up there. We will be back next week. I'm getting pretty excited. Doom the Dark Ages is going to be coming out in 3 weeks now. So that is very exciting. And, I forgot to mention the Dune game, not Doom, but Dune game got delayed by a month. So that sucks for me. I hate that. But in its place, I think they're as a way to apologize, they will have a public beta for the game that will be launching on the original launch date of the game. So everybody will get a chance to check out the game, regardless if you sign up for a beta or not. So that should be pretty good, and we'll talk about those details because that is also about 2 to 3 weeks away. So yippee yah yay! All right, thank you everyone for joining us for episode 74 of the GGG Podcast. If you haven't already liked and subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. And if you're listening to the audio-only version of our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, follow us over there as well. A lot of you tuned in for our Nintendo Direct Deposit episode. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it. And drop us some comments over on the Spotify's or talking about Nintendo if you want. So
Yeah.
okay.
Yippity skippity d. I can't even say what you said.
Yeah, I don't know what I said.
I would love to suggest that as a possible title for the episode.
Great. We have several options this week. Several options. So, all right. Peace out, everybody.